Hi, I'm Jason Inman.
And I'm Ashley Victoria Robinson.
And we're here to give you a non-spoiler review for Solo, a Star Wars story. So don't worry, we know this film doesn't open out for a bit, but we got invited to an early screening, and we thought we would give you our non-spoiler thoughts about this. We're just going to mainly be talking about the feel of the picture, whether we think you should see it, maybe give it a scale of, maybe not even a scale of 1 to 5. We'll save that for the spoiler review. We are going to be doing a spoiler review. All right, Ashley, let's talk about just your general thoughts on Solo, a Star Wars story, walking right out of the theater, because we just saw it.
I think Solo, a Star Wars story is a deeply unnecessary, self-indulgent movie. I think where it succeeds for me personally is in teaching me that what I want out of a Star Wars movie is Jedi. And a lack of Jedi or Jedi prominence in this movie, which echoes how I felt about Rogue One, makes for a less enjoyable movie-going experience. And for me, overall, it failed to expand the mythos, the characterization, the planets, or anything in a meaningful way because it hits all the beats that you expected to, unfortunately. Those were my immediate thoughts right after the movie. How about yourself?
My immediate thoughts are that this is what I think this is a beautifully shot film. One thing that Ron Howard always does well is he's great at cinematography. He's great at setting shots. You've seen one of them in the trailers where it's the cowboy shot of Han going down for his laser. I think that's a beautiful shot. And a lot of the dialogue scenes that could normally be very boring are really well shot by Ron Howard. This is an action movie, plain and simple. It is about, we're going over here, we're going to steal the thing, and we're going to give it to the bad guy to get some money. That's the entire movie. There's not a lot of depth to this movie. There's not a lot of depth character-wise to this movie. There's not really a lot of depth action-wise to this movie, simply because really no part of this movie is surprising.
No.
Every part of this movie, you know what this movie is by watching the trailers. There's no twist or turn or genuine shock. And that leads this movie generally into a feeling of mediocrity, kind of. And I hate to say that, but it really is. Because I look at Solo, a Star Wars movie. You know, and you have Han Solo. You have Chewbacca. We have some new interesting characters. You have Donald Glover, probably the perfect casting of Lando. These moments of Han Solo seeing the Millennium Falcon for the first time, meeting Lando Calrissian for the very first time, going down his path with Beckett as Woody Harrelson. These should all be very exciting, very engaging moments because Han Solo is an exciting, engageable character. He's a rogue.
Theoretically.
Well, in the original trilogy, he is.
When played by Harrison Ford, he is those things.
He is. He is that character in the original trilogy. I would even say that he is part of the reason why there's a little bit of sparkle, a little bit of shine in The Force Awakens when he came back to the role. Like, the moment where Han Solo and Chewie walk into the Falcon and they say, "We're home again," that is a very special moment in Star Wars. The sad thing about Solo, a Star Wars movie, is that there is no moment in the entire movie that comes anywhere close to that.
There's no moment of transcendence. There's truly just a lot of time. It's a long movie, and it feels long. And truly, there's maybe 45 minutes of actual plot.
Yes.
And then the rest of it is just action beats. This would have been a tremendous 90-minute movie.
I think this would have been a very exciting 90-minute movie. Yes.
But instead, we have chase scenes piled on fight scenes. And again, going back to my comment about the Jedi, gunfights are only so interesting. Hand-to-hand combat or close quarters weapons combat is very dynamic. That's why we like Daredevil. That's why we like Arrow. That's why we like Wonder Woman.
But nobody in this movie is a fighter.
And we don't get any of those. With the exception of
Chewbacca. I would say Chewbacca's your only fighter in this movie.
And he's not a particularly skilled. He's kind of a brawler. We don't get
just picks people up and throws them.
Of those staple fight scenes that you would think of in a Star Wars movie. I mean, even the prequels gave us great fight scenes.
I would say the biggest flaw of Solo is that the elements are here for a great movie. Again, we all like Han Solo. We like the Millennium Falcon. We like Chewbacca.
We like Lando.
And every piece of that says that this should be a great movie. You should be very excited about this movie. And the problem is that I don't think it ever gets there. To be honest with you, a lot of this movie feels like And with a script by Lawrence Kasdan, and I know his son also co-wrote it, it feels like an 80s or 90s action movie. And I think that's the reason why it doesn't feel exciting.
Mm-hmm. I think the whole thing feels like a false start. And the production maelstrom was very well documented. We all know about the problems that this movie went through. And to me, the entire production never gets out of the starting gate. It's like someone who's taken a couple steps and stumbled, but unfortunately it's a multi-billion-dollar movie.
I will say, though, unlike Justice League, I did feel that the production errors in Solo were not as apparent as Justice League. In Justice League, to me, you could really feel the different scenes of the two directors.
I would agree.
For me, I think with the exception of some scenes in the very beginning of the movie, I really can't tell the difference between Miller and Lord and Ron Howard.
I just think it never really, I guess to use a flying metaphor, it never really takes off.
You know,
the way all the previous Star Wars movies, whether or not I liked every single one of them, they all ramp up and they get going.
You know why I think that is? I think it's because we are seeing the moments before the story that we actually want to see with Solo.
Yeah.
We are. We want to see Solo kind of fully formed. I don't want to see pre-Solo. And this entire movie is pre-Solo. It really is. He never really forms into the character that we know from the original trilogy. And I know a lot of people out there are like, that's a prequel, that's the whole point. But anyways, there also is, I would say, there's some great actors in this. Woody Harrelson is a great actor. Thandie Newton is a great actress. And they're pretty much cut from the same cloth. Like Thandie Newton, you could basically take her character out and put it in the Chronicles of Riddick. It's basically the same character. Woody Harrelson's basically playing the same character that he's playing in The Hunger Games. And I also don't think that Alden Ehrenreich, if that's how you say his last name.
I don't know his last name, and I don't feel the need to learn it, to be completely honest.
I don't think he ever transcends this movie. There's a lot of parts of this movie where I think he kind of comes off like he's doing an impression of Han Solo just by mumbling a lot. And I felt that he feels like he has no energy or presence in most of this movie.
I'm going to speak more to this in depth in our spoiler review, but in my opinion, he is the first and greatest failure of this movie.
Oh, really?
And I think when you're the titular eponymous character and when you're stepping up to play an iconic role that has a lot of love behind it, that's a lot of weight on your shoulders.
Yeah.
I don't think he was the right person to carry it the way we've seen people like James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender, Martin Freeman as Bilbo Baggins step in and step up. I think he showed up, learned his lines a couple minutes before he walked into the scenes, and can't even produce romantic chemistry with one of the most beautiful actresses in the world. And a lot of what we like about Han Solo is Harrison Ford's inherent charm, and to me, not Taron Egerton has about the charm level of a wet blanket, and it drags the movie down.
I would say there is one piece that is really good in here. Again, there's a lot of great ideas in this movie. There are not a lot of great execution in this movie. There is a interesting piece of Star Wars lore in this movie, and I was genuinely surprised by it. It was the only surprise of the movie, and I will not give you...
It's in the last 10 minutes.
It's in the last act. It is a twist that I did not see coming at all, and I believe you will never... It's the one thing you couldn't predict about this movie, and I don't know where they're going for it. I assume they're setting up Solo 2, but that's my one big positive about this movie. Ashley, overall... do you recommend people go to the theaters and see this movie, or should they wait and rent this movie? Or, we're going to have 3 ratings here. Should they go to the movie theaters and see this movie? Should they stream this movie? Or should they just not see this movie at all?
I cannot in good conscience recommend that anyone spend their time watching this movie. I just don't think it adds anything to what we already know. Everything you've seen here, we've already heard about, and you hearing it delivered by the actors from the original trilogy was better than what we saw executed here due to a number of different reasons. I would say skip it entirely. Take however much money it costs to see a movie where you live and go see Black Panther or Avengers Infinity War again, because those are great movies. Yeah. How about you?
I would say that if you are a Star Wars fan, you're going to enjoy this movie. Now, I to tell you that I don't know how many times you're going to repeat watch this movie, because I think once you see it once, you've seen it. and I don't know if you would ever see it again. I would recommend to stream this movie. I would recommend as well to get your money, go see Avengers Infinity War in IMAX. I think that's the better choice of your afternoon. And wait for this thing to stream. I think that...
stream for free or stream for pay?
You can stream and pay for it.
Okay.
It's fine. But I would not pay movie price for this movie. I think it never lives up to expectations. It's never going to hit the original trilogy. So I think don't set your hopes that high. Don't set yourself to a new hope because it never reaches it. Again, it is a very flawed movie that has a lot of action movie tropes that we've seen in so many movies that are just baked into Star Wars. It's a fun afternoon Netflix movie. It's not a fun movie to go see in the movie theaters, in my opinion. So go below this video and click subscribe because we will be putting up a full spoiler review for Solo coming very soon.
And for more exclusive geeky content, check out patreon.com/Jawiin. Come be a super fan and join us in the Hall of Justice.
We'll see you soon in a galaxy far, far away.